Hi there, it's been a while, but I'm back, bitches. This season's really about to kick off, and I can't begin it without having finished the reviews from last year, so here we are. We are reviewing Lisebergbanan at Liseberg, a true classic of Sweden's ride lineup, and now an increasingly rare type of coaster. It's also a true sleeper hit of Liseberg. I mean, they've got 3 outstanding thrillers in each of their own way, and then old rusty train here just chillin', looking like a family coaster, but it's about as family friendly as when you and your friends snuck into the cinema as kids to watch a horror film. This thing definitely has a great reputation among fans, including me. I am a fan. Because this ride is a ride that proves that family coasters can still be great thrill machines. In a lot of ways, it's Sweden's own Jubalaires, except they are nothing alike. So let's hit it. I wrote it in July of 2023, and let's talk about the technicalities, technical stuff.
Dude, what the f***? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old.
Lisebergbanan is a Zierer Schwarzkopf coaster, a Schwarzkopf design manufactured by Zierer for a true deutsches Produkt. And I think Pontus explains the best version of this ride's origin.
We almost built a coaster from Big Format, but Schwarzkopf himself came here with his hat, a big blueprint under his arm, knocked on the door and said, "Hey, I have designed a coaster for you."
It then opened in 1987, the second of the model after BMRX at Canobie Coaster, which later became Nightmare, which later became Dead. It's got a capacity of 22 riders per train over 11 rows, and it also has a reasonable comfort. You sit alright, and the old restraints are alright. I don't know, the comfort is hardly memorable because it's just so inoffensive. It's 147.7 feet tall, which makes it the second tallest in Liseberg after Valkyria and third in Sweden after Wildfire. How, you may be wondering? Big hill, that's how. This thing is fucking tall. It's also got a long length of 4,397 feet, which is also the second longest in Sweden, only after Helix. 2 long bros hanging out. And it's got a top speed of 49.7 miles an hour, which is a much more normal statistic, although still not low. It's then got a long ride duration of 1 minute and 22 seconds, which is great to have such a long ride duration through awesome scenery. And there's lots happening throughout the ride experience as well. Of course, it's also got zero inversions. This is old-timey. What? No weird family looping things. So let's move on to talk about how this thing looks.
It does look like shit.
Now, I like the color scheme quite a lot actually, but I wouldn't be fooling anyone if I said that this ride's appearance didn't look like it had been raining mud. I mean, for the love of God, it's not themed to garden equipment lost in a shed for 50 fucking years. I guess the rust, it does give it a charm though, just like it does with Nemesis, but still, yikes. Disgusting! I mean, on Nemesis, it was at least fake rust.
You're a fake and a fraud.
It does look awesome on the hillside, however, and especially considering all the other rides surrounding it, it just fits in pretty damn well. The best thing about this off-ride experience isn't even the visuals. Just like with Jetline, the roaring sound that this ride model makes is amazing every time it passes by. It just sounds like a jumbo jet from like a sci-fi. It's incredible and unique. Even though it's not the prettiest bird on the market overall, it's still wonderful just to observe.
1, 2, 3, mother.
Alright, this thing's got quite the layout. So first of all, you start out with a little train horn. And then you go up the chain lift hill, a big one.
Hell no.
This is a massive ass lift hill. Then you head into the first drop, which is really just a large 540-degree helix. It's basically just a massive version of the junior coaster drops. And here you start to get some nice speed and get a little bit of force as well. But it is definitely mostly the speed that does something here because it's quite a large helix. Then you hit into the small twisted drop, which really just changes your direction to the right. But because it also drops, you actually get some very nice floater airtime while also getting a bit of whip as well. So this is actually a surprisingly fun drop, and it hits straight into a twisted hill, which has an amazing airtime moment. I'd pretty much say this is almost ejector airtime, really. This is a wonderfully good hill, has a little bit of snap, and it heads straight into a forceful overbank that really pushes you into your seat. So you really, at this point, already feel quite a lot of speed, even though you haven't really dropped that far down. After that, you head up towards the first mid-course brake run, where you have some small wheels to help it if it feels a little tired. Then you hit the star of the show, the triple curved drop rose petal helix thing. I don't know what to call this, but it looks cool and it feels cool. It's basically 3 massive curved drops in a row going the same direction, with 1 extra mid-course brake run before the 3rd one. And all of these drops just feel freaking awesome. You gain some awesome speed every time. Each drop actually has a lot of force in the bottom, so you generally feel a lot of great intensity here, as well as a little bit of laterals from side to side, just because the track shaping isn't the smoothest exist in the world, but it's in a very fun way. After the third one, no, you don't head up anymore. Instead, you have this long, almost straight section here that slightly turns to the right, where you really do feel the speed and the scenery again. And then you hit up into this curved hill, which has some awesome, very sustained floater airtime, and a little bit of laterals toward your right side as well, before you then head up into this next hill that dives straight down into the left into a 540-degree helix. And this moment, especially in the back row, is freaking awesome. You get some quite intense whip in this section, so you really fly to the right. And on top of that, you get some fantastic airtime. You get yeeted in this element, and I absolutely love that. And the helix itself here also has quite a lot of great force, semi-strong, sustained positive forces all throughout, which is wonderful. And then you hop into the final brake run, which stops you like Superman stops a train. You really gotta brace for this thing, it can hurt. And then you have this little odd section here where you gain a little bit of speed until you hit the actual final brake run. This really just feels like whenever you play Planet Coaster or Roller Coaster Tycoon and you just hit the autocomplete button and it just finds its way back to the track. That's literally what this is. Anyway, the layout is actually awesome. It's got some nice intensity, a lot of speed, lots of great airtime, lots of good laterals, lots of good positive forces.
Don't worry about a thing.
When it comes to the pacing for this ride, granted, it doesn't go full Scenic the entire ride, but the pacing on this ride isn't only about speed and forces, it's also about the scenery.
It's kind of hot.
Every time you slow down, you get to enjoy the scenery, but you also get some great anticipation, just like with the rose petal section, where it actually boosts the fun of the ride slowing down, which is wonderful. And pretty much at all times, the scenery, the close encounters with all the rides, and basically all the surroundings help keep up the pacing. You are never bored, you are never saying this should have been cut out.
This sucks, man.
Which is rare for a coaster that constantly goes up and down in speed and differs in forces throughout. It's a true journey and travel experience, almost like Frodo and Sam going on their epic quest. I guess this is one of those rides where it's complicated to explain the pacing. In a lot of ways it's not good, but not something that bothers me because it just works in every way.
I feel no pain.
No, I feel no pain.
I have come up and told you this.
But when it comes to the smoothness, well, it's an old boy with less modern shaping. It sounds like the recipe for fucking disaster. And it has a regular, very noticeable shuffle that you can expect on a ride like this, but it isn't rough. So it really doesn't hurt in any way with the way it shakes you around. In fact, it only adds to the fun. There's not even a dentist simulator like vibration either. So I would just say this ride is not uncomfortable. It's just classic. Lisebergbanan is themed to this. So how well did they do that theme? Well, the train car itself looks pretty great on the track. It's a nice little part of the theming that doesn't make it look super bare. And the station itself actually has a great vibe for it. It actually feels like a really old-fashioned station. There are little details like this bench with baggage. And of course, there's the train horn. You can't help but love that. But that is about it. There's not really a lot of theming. Again, it's an old ride with old theming, but yet it still satisfies, and it really doesn't need any more theming either, because the scenery is what shines on this one.
I see trees of green.
This is a certified hood classic.
Overall, I personally loved this ride.
I just died of your arms tonight.
It's also grown on me since I wrote it. I keep thinking back on it like, damn, that was good shit. The layout is wonderfully fun. The rose petal section especially got me going all Eurobeat. The scenery and surroundings were awesome, especially if you can time it with other rides. There was one point where I hit this mid-course brake run where Helix was going right above us, and it was awesome. And there's a great mix of forces, speed, and interaction in general. Overall, I think I would give Lisebergbanan an 8 out of 10 for its overall rating as a coaster. It's far from the best ride in the world, but it has an incredible magic of its own. And if you visit for the first time, you should definitely consider this to be around the same tier as the other big boys in the park. The place really has a lucky 4 Clover F coaster.
Holy camole.
And if you also get the chance to ride it at night, I mean, that's just extra magic on that. It's just beautiful. So that was my review of Lisebergbanan. Let me know what you think about this ride or any similar ride to it in the comments below. As always, I would love to hear what you think, even if you haven't ridden it.
I just saw the ad and thought it looked fun.
You're in.
And otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope to soon get back to also making a few more videos. I should soon start to have a little more time for it as well. So otherwise, I just want to wish you a very good whatever day you are having. So, bye!
Oh, no.